Yeah, I'm so excited to have you today, Matanya.
Thank you. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
So, we have a welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Four Directions. It has been quite a while, as it's a political current affairs show that we discuss different topics from different parts of the world. So today, our discussion for the day is going to be about SARS in Nigeria, the protest, and what is next. Why the police is killing citizens in Nigeria? What is the role of the government and the country to protect the civilians? And what is the regional role to stop the human rights violation and the attack against civilians? And then also at the same time, there is a lot of activists who are asking the international community to take an action to stop the ongoing crisis in Nigeria. I have my guest with me here today, MUETINYAN. She's a visual storyteller. She's going to be our guest for today to talk more about the case. Welcome, MUETINYAN.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Maria Paula. I'm so honored to be on your show, and I thank you for the opportunity as well.
Welcome. So first, tell us, what is SARS? When has it started?
Sure. So SARS stands for Special Anti-Robbery Squad. It's a special unit within the Nigerian Armed Forces, and its purpose really is to combat crimes in Nigeria. So their goal is to fight crimes. And during the time that SARS was established, this was 1984, they had like high number of crimes in Nigeria. So that special police unit was established to fight crime.
Mm-hmm. So, why does it took that long from 84 up to 2017, and when they have started back again for the movement? Why didn't continue doing it?
Sure. So when SARS was first created, according to research, it showed that it really did do what it was supposed to do. Now, 1984, I wasn't born 1984, so I don't know what the reality was like in Nigeria then. But when I lived in Nigeria, 2002, which is when I came to the US, but I lived in Nigeria from 88, which is when I was born, to about 2002. Police brutality was something that was common. But it wasn't a serious issue because just like everything else, corruption and every other issues that are happening in Nigeria right now, even in Africa per se, the government don't take things like that very seriously. So I think what really made the situation very unique, I should use, was because the youth, my generation, were tired of the neglect by the government. So the situation, you would think it's SARS, but it has little to do with SARS. It has a lot to do with the lack of employment for youth who have gone to the university, have coming out of school and can't find employment. For example, a mother would raise their children selling like plantain on their head, selling gari, selling rice, and then to fund their children's education. And those children would go to school and come out of school and start selling plantains and gari and beans and rice. Why? The reason why you're going to school is so that you can have a better life, is so that you can be a part of the progressive Nigeria. But apparently with all that being done by your parents, kids come out of school and don't have jobs. And so you have them trafficking themselves to Europe and in America just to get out of poverty. So I think that the draw for SARS was because my generation, younger generation, from the age of around 15 to 24, 35 rather, are tired and they want something different. So they want a change, they want something different other than what they've been getting. They want something different, and that's why they started protesting. And it was due to the fact that a man got killed by a police officer, and that was what kind of started the riots. But I think eventually we Nigerians are not surprised. Most Nigerians are not surprised by SARS. I knew eventually it would happen. I just didn't think it would happen when I'm alive. I think I probably would have been 99 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So the fact that it happens now, I'm pretty shocked.
Uh-huh. So that takes me to an important question. What do you think the impact that SARS has on the socioeconomic sector in Nigeria in general?
On the socioeconomic, that's a great question. I think when it comes to socioeconomic, though, I think Police brutality, that's an interesting question. I think police brutality has a lot to do with human rights issue. I think when it comes to socio-economical, I think that has a lot to do with the government, the lack of resources provided by the government, right? I think that when I speak of the lack of resources not being provided, I'm speaking about basic needs not being provided, such as good roads, such as quality healthcare systems, such as free education, such as, you know, just the basic thing, electricity. These are basic things that we have here in the United States. And the reason why we're able to enjoy these amenities is because the government provides these things for us. But that's not the case with Africa. I don't know a country, maybe besides South Africa, but I don't know a country that has those things provided for them. And that's the reason why there is a lot of us in the US and in the UK, because the basic things are not met. If we have the basic things met, then not every person would want to come to the US. I think we decided to leave our country because we want choices. And I believe that the difference between a rich country and a poor country are choices. A rich country has choices, right? If you go to the grocery stores, you have all kinds of cereal, Lucky Charm, Lucky Charm Baby. There's all kinds of cereals for you, right? But in a poor country, you only have cornflakes. I only knew cornflakes in Nigeria, honestly. So when I came to the US and I saw all these cornflakes and all these Lucky Charm, Baby, I was just like, wow. So that's what we want. We want choices. So on a socio-economical level, it's having the government provide the things that we need. And part of the reason why SARS became an issue was the issue of corruption, right? So these kids who are managing themselves, being able, maybe some of them are web designers, they think that these kids are stealing, you know, they are fraudsters, and so police tries to attack them. Now they harass them, they take their stuff away from them, they torture them. I mean, there are lots of videos of parents who have to go into like a stream to look for the dead bodies of their kids because police have brutalized and killed them. And who do you hold accountable for? Nobody. No one.
When you talk about corruption, just talk to me briefly about that. What do you mean by the design of the corruption in the public sector? How does it affect the movement of SARS?
How does it affect the movement of SARS? So police are not funded properly in Nigeria. And I think that if the police are not funded, if they're not paid well, chances of them being corrupt is higher. If you're paid well, why would you want money from somebody down the street? Why would you want to stop a car and collect money from them? You won't want to do that because you have money, you're being paid well. So I think that corruption plays a massive role because these police officers will stop young kids, youngsters, and then would harass them and take the little things they've been able to accomplish, take money from them. I mean, there's a story of a man who son was arrested, and he had to go to the police station to look for his child, and they told him he has to bring X, Y, and Z amount of money to get his child, right? He went and sold his land. He went and sold all these properties so that he can pay to have his child. Now, after he's paid all that money, guess what? They showed him a stream of dead bodies, and they asked him, and basically he had to flip over dead bodies to find his kid. That's insane. It's not human-like to do such a thing. So if corruption is making people do that, then yes, the whole system is sick.
So that takes me to an important question. What do you think the role of you as a visual storyteller and also the role of non-profit organization to support such a social movement that bring change to the country?
Great question. I think the role as a storyteller is to chase after truth. I think that's what my work is. I don't go after the popular things. I don't go after the trendy things. I go after truth. And I think is to continue to tell the truth and tell it honestly and openly. I mean, obviously that's what truth is. And tell it and not be afraid to face whatever consequences there would be. The role of a nonprofit organization is to continue to still support the people. But the thing about nonprofits is that sometimes the monies and don't go directly to the people. I mean, for example, the COVID-19 food that were given to citizens, right? The palliatives, rather, that were given to citizens to help cushion them during COVID-19 weren't given to them. You know, I think about a few months ago, they found warehouse full of food that was stalled. You know what I mean? So it's a very tricky thing in terms of nonprofit organization being able to support the local people. I think if there's no direct contact between the people and the nonprofit, if there's a middle person, sometimes that still corruption still happens where the money don't get to the people. You know what I mean? So I think that it's very difficult. You know, I really do feel that African problem is Africans problem. Africans are the ones to solve their problem. I think extending ourselves to international people is good, but we are responsible for our own problems, and we have to find a way to sort that out.
So when you talk about the system in general is sick, what does it need? What does it need to be fixed? What does it need to make the Nigerian citizen happy?
What does Nigerian citizens need? Oh,
yeah.
Man. Oh boy, they need a whole lot of stuff. No, they need Nigerian citizens. If I start talking, we will stay here for hours. So, okay, let me tell you, they need basic things. You know, they have the things where they call the hierarchy of needs, right? Once the basic needs are met, then we can begin to talk about other things. The basic needs are having clean water. The basic needs are having electricity. The basic needs are having education, providing free education for those who can't afford. The basic needs are having quality healthcare facilities where a mother can go, you know, when they need to care, you know, just basic things. And so I think that for a Nigerian to be happy, we need those needs met. You know what I mean? We need those basic needs provided for us, or to us rather. So that way we can be able to do other things. I'm sorry.
You're
think
fine.
I lost you first.
We are still here.
Yeah, so that way we can be able to do the other things that are necessary. A person who hasn't eaten can start to do other things. You ever imagine when you're very hungry? You can't do anything else when you're hungry, right? You have to eat first, and then you can begin to worry about everybody else or everything else. But when you're still hungry, you really can't function properly. I think that's where the issue is. We have to look at the priorities of the society, because if you're choosing to be a leader, you're not leading because you want to be there, because you want to sit on top of power. No, you're leading because you want to serve the people. The people are the reason why you're there. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that the needs of these people are met. And it took a while for us to start seeing that kind of change in Africa, honestly. Because I think that when leaders get into power, I'm not saying all of them, but when they get into power, their priorities get, it deviates from the reason why they're there. Mm-hmm. You know, Buhari wants to fight corruption. That's his main goal, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of corrupt things that have been happening. And I don't see any prosecution going on. I don't see any lawsuit, anything like that going on to hold these people accountable that are stealing monies. We have not seen that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my answer to you.
So there is Amnesty International said that they have recorded 82 cases of SARS abuses over the last 3 years. And also take in consideration that the hashtag has started, like now it has 3 decades. It's taking the government, I think it's taking the government longer to take action and have a plan on that. But the Nigerian President Buhari is still promising the people that there is change coming. How fast is that going to be?
Well, the change the Nigerian need, it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, the issue of SARS wasn't an issue that happened today. I say it's not a golden phenomenon because it took a while for all of these things to build up, right? The change that we're speaking about may not happen today, but people have to see strategies that will lead to the bigger change. People have to see the smaller steps that will lead to the massive change. So I think that the reason why Nigerians are skeptical about Buhari's statements is because we've known our leaders not to really care about the citizens. You know what I mean? And so, for example, the Lekki massacre that happened, where they went in and sprayed bullets in the bodies of Nigerians who are peacefully protested, that just shows you that, honestly, the government don't care as much as I think they should care. And Nigerians know that. We know our people. So I think that the change may not happen immediately, but we want to see strategies that leads to the bigger change, the small steps, right? That leads to the bigger change. And I think that's what people are looking for. That's what the aims are. And if you're going to make a change, the youth in Africa are the majority. In Africa alone, they're the majority. So if you're going to have a political change in a continent that has a majority of youth, exactly. So how come you should have the youth a part of decision making in the country, in these countries? There should be a delegate, someone that speaks up for the youth. I don't know about that. I don't see that. And the thing that makes me, it's quite interesting to me, is because the Buharis and the Obasanjos and all these men were there when the colonial masters were still in Africa, right? They're in the 70s right now. Nigeria is about 60. How old is Nigeria? About 60 something years old now. He's a little bit 62, right? Okay. So Buharis and them are 70 something years old. So they remember when colonial masters were still in the country, and they were in the 20s and 10s, whatever age they were. And they were part of political, they were part of making these decisions. They were the ones who galvanized to kick the political masters out. Even if they did not galvanize, they were a part of the political system back then. Don't you think the youth these days need that? They need the same effort. They need the same support.
So recently there is a campaign that was done by the AU to silencing the gun, which I just have they're asking about youth employment and fighting corruption agenda 2063 that this is asking for mostly. So how do you envision the bigger impact on youth on the continent?
How do I envision the bigger impact of youth in the continent?
Of this kind of campaign that has started for silencing the gun, which means like they're asking for silencing the unemployment, provide employment for youth, and also fighting corruption and being able to implement youth as a decision maker. Will that kind of campaign work in the continent?
That's a great question. I need to think about that one for a little second. Would that kind of campaign work? I think there are lots of campaigns that I think those are good ideas. Those are a good way to start. But I think it's like very massive, you know. How are they going to do it is what we're looking for. Campaigns are campaigns, right? But how? People want to see strategies. Campaign is not a strategy. Campaign is just people, if you're going to show me, okay, if we're doing a campaign, if you're going to show me that, okay, in 2021, the AU is going to employ 50,000 youth in Lagos, for example, and these are the jobs that they're going to be doing. And those are strategies. You know what I mean? Those are the things that we all look forward to. But campaigns are just campaigns. How many campaigns have there been? There have been lots of campaigns, but we just need strategy. We need steps. We need something tangible that we can see to push the realities of these children forward. I say children, but they're really my generation.
So,
my age. So no, campaign is good. It's a great start, but it's not the answer. I think what people are looking for are strategies. At this point, it's strategies. They need to be more transparent with your strategies. Yeah.
So what is need to be done in case of the strategies and the step that the government should be taking in Africa or in Nigeria specifically?
I think there should be more involvement of youth. I think that, I live in the US, right? So I may not have all the answers because I don't live in Nigeria, and I just want to be open and honest about that. But it doesn't mean that I don't know what Nigerians might need. I know some of them, I don't know all of them, because living in Nigeria then and now, I think it just got worse. But I think some of the problems are still the same. I think that to make change, you can't provide, you can't offer people solutions without asking them what they need. You can't just assume that these are the things that the younger generation would need, right? Without sitting them down and writing down the things that are bothering them and writing down the things that they really need. So it takes the government to sit down with youth and ask them, and just kind of sit down with them and ask them specific questions as to what they need, so that way these youth can be, so that way the government can be able to provide these resources for them. Now, another thing is, because when you campaign, when you're voting for these people, when the youth are voting, they vote for people who will stand and defend them. They vote for people who would provide them the resources they need. So it's not like the leaders don't know what the younger generation needs. I just think that when they get into power, they forget. Mm-hmm. Or they get caught up with other things. But I think the best way to go, though, is to sit down with the youth and begin to strategize. I mean, there must be a department of youth, something within the Nigerian departments of whatever all the things they have that would really focus on youth. I mean, they have Department of Tourism, they have something, they have all these different aspects within the Nigerian, what's it called? Within the Nigerian, governmental system, right? So they should have something for the youth. That way youth can be a part of the decision making. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So youth demand or youth need, what do you need in general?
Say that again, sorry, I missed it.
What do youth need?
What does
the youth into action? Yeah.
You say, what does the youth need?
Yeah, what does the youth need?
They need people that would listen to them, right? And they need people that will listen to them. And the things are not that, because when you really sit down and you pay attention to the things that's happening in Nigeria, I'm speaking for Nigeria because that's really where my focus is with a lot of the stories that I do. But unemployment is a big deal. In the whole of Africa, it is. I mean, Burkina Faso has the highest unemployment rate in the world. And that's 77% of the people there are unemployed, right? So if you want to talk about what the youth need, then pay attention to them. Education is not free in Nigeria when half of the population are starving. You know what I mean? So if you make university free, then that alleviates the stress that parents would have to go through. Quality healthcare system, that's not there. You know what I mean? So these are just basic things and this is not only for Nigerian youth, though, this is for the whole of Nigeria, the whole of Africa. These are basic needs, so kids don't have to traffic themselves. Prostitution don't have to be high because all of these things are not provided. And so I think that what the youth need are in the faces of these leaders. If only they can look at it and accept it, then we can begin to make the proper change needed. Until then, there's going to be with SARS. Now the thing has died down, right? But it's still going on. Corruption is still there. People are still it's still happening. It's just more subtle. So next year we're going to be talking about SARS. There has to be concrete strategies to really bring an end to something. Yeah.
So people are still talking about Nigeria in general, youth, especially the immigrant ones, as an amazing people, as an innovative people, and they are part of change in these developed countries. How can we take these intellectuals, those people who are qualified, back to Nigeria to be part of this change?
Well, that's a great question. Well, the thing is, if you don't want to invest in your own people, they have to take their talent somewhere else. That's being whether you are governing a company, whether you are governing a country, whether you're leading a company, whether you're leading a country. People like to feel needed, and they would want you to invest in them. So if you have a group of people that work under you, they would want you want to invest in them. You want to pour life into them so that way they can flourish, right? Nigeria, the politicians in Nigeria makes $480,000 a year. That's more than President Trump makes, right? That's more than a teacher and a doctor combined salary would make. So if you want to talk about taking people back home, you have to be able to compensate or pay them rather the amount of money they're making here, or or a certain amount of money that would make them comfortable if they were to return to Nigeria. So the reason why we're all here, including myself, is because those resources are not there. You know, you work Monday to Friday, 12 hours, whatever hours you work. At the end of the week, there's no salary. At the end of the month, there's no salary. You have to go drag salary from the government. Nobody wants that. So I think that for those who are here to go back home, it's still the same concrete strategy. You cannot, people want to feel needed. And I don't think the Nigerians feel needed. That's why they are trying to leave Nigeria. Why would I leave if my government cares about me? Why would I leave if they have basic amenities met? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We will still be in our country, a lot of us, making it great. But those things are not there. They're not there.
Taking you back to Hillary Clinton, like she has just tweeted that asking, I'm calling on Buhari and the police to stop killing young people. And the campaign right now is spread globally along some celebrities and also politicians. What can the international community do to save them?
The international community is doing what the international community should do, is tell Buhari to stop killing and all that. But like I said before, or as I said earlier, the fight is a Nigerian fight. This is not a call for the whole world to, it wouldn't matter if the whole world speak up. I mean, it's nice to see them do it. And I applaud the ones who are doing it for doing it. But at the end of the day, though, it's Nigerians' issue. That's an African issue. Africans need to be responsible for their issue. You know what I mean? The government needs to be responsible for itself. The government needs to be accountable for itself. That's basically what it boils down to. Obama, Mr. Trump, Mrs. Hillary, all those people can say as much as they want. But if the government in Nigeria or in Africa refuse to take action, then action won't be taken. And some people are saying there's no international pressure, and that's why it's taking them this long. And that's all. They say that X, Y, and Z, and that's why this isn't happening. That's why that isn't happening. I get all that, but at the end of the day, I still think that that's an African fight. You know, we don't need Beyonce to come and say and SARS. We don't need all those people to say that, because just saying it makes sense, but at the end of it, it's still our fight. That we have to do that as citizens. That's our responsibility. That's nobody besides ours.
Mm-hmm. Well, currently with the COVID-19 has increased. There is 1,160 death cases in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And at the same time, people are raising up and they're going up out on the street. And I think that the government currently is facing mismanagement, because there is still increasing in the deaths by COVID-19. How can they balance that, COVID-19 and SARS, listening to the citizens' voices?
Oh, God. Well, your questions are so good, but I'm laughing because the issues is it's so big. You're thinking it's SARS, and then we're thinking it's COVID-19. It's a whole lot of things. How are they going to be able to balance that? I think that the reason why people are protesting, right? So recently they found a warehouse full of food. I don't know if the food is supposed to be given to the citizens, but it's a warehouse full of food, and it was listed, and there were some of the packages had COVID-19 on them, right? Like Indomie noodles, bag of rice, beans, whatever. It was all in a warehouse, and it has COVID-19. I think it has COVID-19 on it. So I'm thinking, and I think a lot of Nigerians would agree with me, that those packages were to be distributed to the base to Nigerians, right? If you're saying that people can't go out, you're saying that people can't leave their homes, then you have to give them something to eat. And you can't say people can't go out, they can't go anywhere. Do you want them to starve? Now, the food that you're supposed to be giving to them, it's in a warehouse locked somewhere. And so people broke into that and they began taking those things. So I think that COVID-19 is increasing in Nigeria, just as it is increasing everywhere else. Unfortunately, I think that Nigerians the way it looks like, at this point is like, if they die, they die, but they're going to die fighting for something they know they deserve. And I think that's why a lot of them are out on the streets, because why COVID-19 is being, why COVID-19 is a serious issue. Police brutality is still there. Don't you think the government should speak to the police and inform them to decrease the way they are with citizens, given what's happening in the continent, given what's happening in Nigeria? You know what I mean? I think that it's, yeah, it frustrates me to speak about this, because everything is on to the leaders. I think the leaders are fully responsible for a lot of the things that are happening right now. Mm-hmm. And the citizens should take responsibility for some of it. But I think I always would look up to the leader, because they are the ones guiding, they are the ones protecting, they are the ones serving us. So I just don't think they're doing a good job when it comes to that.
Okay, taking you that to the regional, the ECOWAS, the East African Community, and also you have the African Union. We have what can this organization do to save the situation and to rescue this the Nigerian citizen in the case of SARS?
They can do what everyone else is doing. I mean, they can sit down with the government. You know, these are just vague suggestions. They can sit down with the Nigerian government. I mean, the ECOWAS and the AU, right? African Union. They can sit down and provide strategies. I just think that it's about strategies, Mary. It's about sitting down and providing, like, look at the areas where there are gaps, right? And begin to fill those gaps up. So if we're looking at unemployment in Nigeria, unemployment in South Sudan, unemployment in Burkina Faso, these kids are coming out of colleges, right, without any job, right? And so if the AU wants to support, or the ECOWAS and them, they should look at providing jobs for these citizens. So those are the things because those are the basic needs. You need jobs. If you have a job, then everything else is secondary, right? If you have a job, you're able to provide for yourself first and then provide for your family. But if you don't have a job, that's when you start to steal. That's when corruption is very high. That's when people are trafficking themselves. So I think that AU can definitely do something, because they understand the problems of Africa. They are part of the continent. So they know what they can do to solve some of these issues. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, they can do so much.
Mm-hmm. How do you envision the future 10 years from now? And
my vision,
because there is SARS there's no SARS, how Nigeria will be doing, how is the continent going to be?
You want my imagination, or you want me to give you like what I predicted?
Yeah, just what you predicted for the continent 10 years from now. I know you are visual storytellers, and you are also you are amazing on telling and imagining.
Thank you. You know what I think though? I'll give you the imaginative side, because as a storyteller, we imagine a lot of things. I imagine a Nigeria that would provide for its citizens. I imagine a Nigeria where governments don't have to fly out of the country to get medical treatment. I imagine a Nigeria where education is free. I imagine a Nigeria where resources are provided for the citizens. I imagine a Nigeria where employment is given to youth. I imagine a Nigeria where there's safety. I imagine a Nigeria where there isn't corruption. I imagine a Nigeria where government would listen to the citizens. I say that over and over because that's a big part. I imagine a Nigeria with strong leadership that would take itself accountable. And so that way the world can look at us with an eye of respect. I think the way we are as citizens, in a sense that the fact that we don't take accountability for our own actions, it doesn't give us a global respect. We don't have that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stereotypical madness when it comes to when you hear Nigeria. It's that we're fraudster, with this, with that. We can't change that. You know what I mean? Because Nigerians are part of the tech world. Nigerians are one of the smartest people I know. I'm not bragging about this. I'm a Nigerian and I know that. we are very smart. We're very smart people, and we're hard workers. I mean, Nigerians come to the US, and in under a year, they've done so much. It's just a given. So I keep saying that if we can do this in another man's country, we can certainly do this in our own country. We just need to have resources provided for us. And so I envision a country that has no war, that has lots of water, that doesn't have any, just a peaceful nation. You know, I mean, it just sounds like it's not possible, but I know it is. Because there are parts of the world that has it, and we can make that happen. Because the reason why I believe we can make that happen is because we are responsible for that kind of change. It is up to us to make that happen. We can't leave that for someone else.
A lot of women right now are going on the street, and they're asking for the police to stop killing their kids, their boys.
Yeah.
Women voices on this movement, on the future, how is it going to be like? How is it going to look like?
You know what I learned about the other day? I learned that Africa rather provides lots of, I think, hold on for a second. I think my battery is about to die. Facebook people, I'm sorry. I have to get my charger.
That's fine. We're almost done.
We're almost done. I believe that, bear with me. Let me see where. Do I have it here? I believe that women are a big part of the changes we need. I think a mother's voice is important. I think that I'm so proud to read that Africa rather, has a very diverse leadership, because women, they include a lot of women in a lot of the leadership that we have. I think that I think women should just continue speaking up. I think a lot is happening in that department, maybe not as rapid as we would want it to be, but I think that even with the SARS movement, I saw a lot of women protesting, holding their babies in their arms. And so I think that's really, really good. I think we're making a lot of progress in that department. I think it says about 11% of African leaders, or 11% of something about 11%. I can't remember the details of that. But we're doing very good when it comes to providing and giving women the chance to become leaders. Now, I'm not saying if a woman become a leader, it would be better, but just having that opportunity is best. Like I said before, the difference between a wealthy country and a poor country are choices. We just want choices. If the people are going to use it, whether they use it or not, it doesn't matter. We just want choices. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that women are speaking out. I'm very, very, very happy about that, because Nigeria is a conservative society, and some would say women are not supposed to do certain things, but I don't believe that. I think what a man can do, a woman can do as well.
Is Nigeria learning from the other African countries that have the political change, right? Recently, you have Burkina Faso, you have Ghana, you have Mali, you have Sudan. Is the Nigerian taking notes for change?
I think they are.
Okay.
I think it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell that, given what's happening right now. Obviously they are taking notes. But I don't think, so Mary, I don't think that everybody's, just because it's happening here. Okay, so I'll use example. So the death of George Floyd, when I did a lot of research, it said that the death of George Floyd is what's causing Nigerians to speak up. I think that's part of it. You know what I mean? But I just think that when you push people closer to the war, eventually they will fight. So I just think we're just seeing a ripple effect of that happening right now. So I think a lot of Nigerians don't have to take notes. They just know that it's the time for change. You know what I mean? I think that they know that it's time for change because they're exhausted. They're exhausted from the evil of corruption. Corruption itself is a deadly virus. I think it's worse than COVID-19 because it's slowly eating the life of the country. It's eating away its resources. It's eating away its talent. So that's a serious issue, right? So I think Nigerians are very aware of that. They've always been aware of that. It's just that maybe the older generation got tired and the younger generation are speaking up. And I remember when I interviewed a guy who said to me, I'm mad at my parents because they didn't do much. So fight for me. You know what I mean? So they feel like they feel betrayed by their parents. And that's why they're willing to die for the Nigeria, because they believe in a better Nigeria. Why would you die for something if you don't believe it can be better? You die because you know that it will get better. And that's why they're making the alarm. They're trying to bring awareness to what's happening. But it's been there for a long time. But what's happening right now is it's not a news. It's something that is just, you know, COVID and everything else makes it seem like it. But no, it's always been there.
Okay. We reach the end of our conversation. There is anything you would like to add at the end?
Well, always here's what I'm gonna say.
And also how people can reach out to you. And how people can reach out to you.
Absolutely. I'm sure, Mary. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really, really am so much. And I do like the work you do. I admire your work, so keep going. I know it's not always easy, but keep going because I'm rooting for you. To my fellow Nigerians, I am so proud of them. I'm so proud. It breaks my heart heavily that people have to die in the process of finding freedom, in the process of wanting change. But I feel in my guts that it's the right thing. It's the right thing to do. We enjoy America today because of the fights that has happened before we arrived. The Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X, those are the people who fought for us, for you and I to be in this country. So there's some battles that people have to lose their life. And it's so unfortunate. It breaks my heart. But overall, I am so proud of my country. I'm so proud of the youth because it gives me hope that something is cooking, something fantastic is cooking in the kitchen. So eventually, with little steps like this, the country will become better. It may not be in my generation, it may not be my kids' generation, but it will happen eventually. And so if you want to reach out to me, you can follow me on Facebook. My name is IMUETINYAN UGIAGBE. I know it's very hard. Mary, you're gonna have to put that down
Sure.
so they can be able to find it. And also on Twitter, it's IMUE UG. So that's IMUEUGIA. And on Instagram, it is IMUE.UGIA. And on my YouTube, it's my first and last name. And I do weekly videos on different topics as it relates to Africa. So I do hope to see you all on my channel as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, MUETINYAN.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching and for joining me today. Our topic for today was SARS protest in Nigeria and what is next. I was joined by MUETINYAN. She's a visual storyteller, and she shared with us her great experience about the solution for SARS and what is next. I will leave you here for today. Our show for today is finished. Until I meet you again in another show, different topic. Send me your suggestions, and please follow me on Facebook and also YouTube at 4Direction. I was the host, Mary Apollo. See you next time. Bye.